as Dak Prescott goes 28 of 40, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. So 3 turnovers in the game for Dak. So it's not all good. He's had 13 interceptions since week 7, 6 straight games with an INT, a career high, 14 interceptions for Dak Prescott. That's tied with Derek Carr. And consider Dak Prescott missed 5 games this season. So Dallas takes care of business. They improved to 12-4. That's consecutive 12-win seasons for the first time since the 92-95 run when they won 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year span. That was the last time they were in the Super Bowl and won it in 95. They're looking to get back there and perhaps win it this year because, look, they got a good team at 12-4 and taking care of business on a short week against a banged-up Tennessee Titans team. The other storyline in this game, Josh Dobbs making his first career NFL start. And not bad, not awful, a touchdown and a pick. Consider he was signed off the Lions practice squad 8 days ago. So now Mike Vrabel has a decision to make. Are we going with Josh Dobbs? We're going with Malik Willis, the rookie, in Week 18 with the AFC South title on the line. We'll wait to see. Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports NFL reporter Tyler Sullivan. Dak Prescott, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in this game. The first was not his fault, but it's 13 INTs since Week 7. Tyler, what are you seeing from Dak, and how concerned are you about his mistakes going into the playoffs?
Yeah, like you said, some of them have been fluky. Some of them are tip passes, and they just fall into the arms of the wrong hands. But there are some throws where you're looking at it saying, oh, I don't know what you're really looking at there. I mean, one of those interceptions you're thrown into double coverage for no good reason. And some of these that we've seen in recent weeks, it's just overthrows. So, there are some questions there as to what Dak Prescott is looking at, his field vision. And some of it could be the offensive line. There's obviously been issues along that unit throughout the year. There could be pressure that he's trying to maybe rush things a little bit too much. You can start making those excuses, but you are the quarterback. You are the highly paid guy under center. You can't be making those mistakes, especially when you're a team like Dallas who has aspirations to not just make the playoffs, but go on a significant run. And when you're throwing multiple interceptions and fumbling the football and giving the ball to the opposition, it might not burn you tonight because it's Josh Dobbs under center, like you were saying. Just a few days ago, he was on a practice squad for a different team, but against a San Francisco, a Minnesota, a Philadelphia, all these teams that are going to be in the postseason, that could be the difference for you advancing or going home.
Yeah, Dan Quinn's defense really getting it done. Their 15th interception of the season, among the best in the NFL, as the Cowboys get a big win against the Eagles last week, take care of business here on a short week. And you mentioned, you kind of led me right here, what's your confidence level in Dallas as a Super Bowl contender? Because that defense is getting it done. Perhaps your question marks are here on the offensive side of the ball, and you really sit here and think about it. Well, they've got the weapons. Dak is surrounded by guys, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, and CeeDee Lamb, and they pick up T.Y. Hilton. This is a team that is a bona fide contender, but what is your confidence level in them?
It's a lot lower than it should be, if I can be perfectly honest, because it does seem like the DNA of the Dallas Cowboys is playing down to their competition. This was a game where we were talking about possibly seeing Cooper Rush because it was going to be such a big blowout in the fourth quarter. And this isn't just the case in this game tonight. You go back the past few weeks here, Houston, they were a double-digit favorite, and you're winning that game by a slim margin. You're a favorite against Jacksonville, and you take that to overtime and lose off an interception from Dak Prescott. Last week, you're facing Gardner Minshew in the Eagles. It's not even Jalen Hurts in the Eagles, and you win that game, but it's closer than what you would have thought it would be. And obviously tonight, same kind of story here. It does feel like they play down to their competition, which is never a good thing. You should be able to put teams away that are inferior to you. And one of the things that really concerns me, you talk about the roster, you talk about the defense, number one thing's coaching. I still am not sold 100% on Mike McCarthy. After that interception off Joshua Dobbs, it felt like a perfect opportunity to run the football and bleed clock and run that game away. And what did Dallas decide to do? They got to stop late, first round down run, they get stopped, but then they throw it deep on a couple of different passes and punt the ball away. That doesn't make any sense. You need to put teams away, and that type of play calling allows teams to get back in it. If you're Mike McCarthy, you have to be better than that. You have to shut the door on these teams when you have that opportunity off a turnover, not give the ball back less than a minute later.
What defines a successful season for the Cowboys? Because if you're Mike McCarthy, you got to get this team at least, right? You got to win in the wild card round, and then you got to win the divisional round. At least get you a chance here to compete, right?
Yeah, I think a divisional round appearance slash strong outing in that game. I don't know if I have to say that you have to win that game or you lose your job or anything along those lines. But if you are a representative in the wild card round and then advance to the divisional round and give yourself a representative showing, well, then okay, you're showing some progress to a certain degree. But if all of a sudden you go out there and lay an egg to, a Tampa for if that ends up being the case at Raymond James Stadium, if they end up winning that division, you're talking about hitting alarm bells and really looking at this thing at a different point of view if you're Jerry Jones. So a successful postseason run is don't fall on your face. Don't go down to competition. Play above to your talent level, because if you do, you're going to last a lot longer than people may think.
Dallas wraps up the regular season next week at Washington as they chase their first Super Bowl since the 1995 season. Meantime, the Titans have a big game on the schedule next week. Josh Dobbs just made his first career NFL start, signed off the Lions practice squad 8 days ago. How do you look to you, and what are you doing next week if you're Mike Vrabel? The rookie Malik Willis or Josh Dobbs with the AFC South on the line?
I'll tell you this, Joshua Dobbs impressed me in this game because of all the circumstances around this. I mean, you're talking about a Tennessee Titans team that was waving the white flag with all the guys that they ruled out tonight, conserving for this Week 18 against Jacksonville, which obviously is much more important and will determine the fate of their season. But the fact that Joshua Dobbs, that was on a practice squad that was not the Tennessee Titans 8 days ago, was able to play as well as he did, you have to at least have the conversation of whether or not he gives you the best chance to win in Week 18 against the Jaguars. Obviously, Malik Willis gives you a different dynamic because of his ability as a runner, but what we've seen so far as a passer just hasn't been up to par. The fact that Dobbs can come in here without a Derrick Henry at his disposal, without these certain weapons on both sides of the ball complementing this Titans team, and still throw for over 200 yards in this game, he looks solid. Again, it's a lot different. It's, maybe the Cowboys were overlooking him a little bit. Now that teams have tape, maybe that things change a little bit. Who knows? But for me, you at least have to have the conversation, because it did feel like the offense moved a little bit more smoothly, particularly, of course, through the air with Dobbs under center. If that's what you think can help beat Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, you at least have to have that conversation.
Yeah, their sixth straight loss after starting the season 7-3, so trending in the wrong direction. So what is your prediction in Week 18? Do the Darlings from Duval County win the AFC South for the first time since 2017?
I think they do. I'm not getting in the way of what I feel like is an emergence of one of the next elite quarterbacks in the NFL in Trevor Lawrence. We always see these kind of guys crash the party and blossom late. And what we've seen from Trevor Lawrence is just that. Over the last 7 games, he has a passer rating of 108.2. He has 1 interception in 14 touchdowns. I'm cutting him short here. 14 touchdowns. He is playing at a level that we all thought he was going to be when he was drafted number 1 overall coming out of Clemson. Obviously, the year last year with Urban Meyer was a speed bump in his development. But now under Doug Peterson, it feels like we're finally seeing the Trevor Lawrence that we all hope to see. And if all of a sudden you're telling him to just win a game against either Malik Willis or Joshua Dobbs, I feel very confident saying that he will be able to put this division away with that type of performance that we've seen so far the last few weeks.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see the Jaguars, right? Represent the AFC South, maybe make some noise in the AFC playoffs, maybe win a game. That'd be fun, especially when you consider, like what you just said about the fact that Doug Peterson comes in and Trevor Lawrence is basically a different quarterback compared to what he was under Urban Meyer. I mean, that says a lot about Doug Peterson. It says a lot about the lack of Urban Meyer, what he was able to do with a number 1 overall pick. Jaguars are fun, man. They're a fun team to watch. On this night, it is the Titans losing their 6th in a row. But again, next week's a big one. The AFC South title on the line. Tyler Sullivan wrapping it up for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Tyler, thanks. And for all things NFL, check out the Pick 6 podcast. Join host Will Brinson and his super friends Ryan Wilson and John Breach. Tyler Sullivan, also a contributor on this podcast, delivering your daily fix of NFL news and analysis. Get you up to speed so you're always in the know. The Pick 6 podcast, download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.